Welcome to My Life here with Jackie Bambousek over at Independence of Waterstone. Just as a quick reminder, Jackie was born in Cleveland. She was an RN for over 40 years, retired from Crittenden Hospital in 1993. She's lived in Oxford for over 12 years, and of course she's been married to Gerald, whom we interviewed the other day, for over 60 years. And once again, welcome to our program. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
When we left off last time, we were talking about nursing school. Yeah, I want to ask you this. You were in a different neighborhood, maybe not as good as the one you had grown up in. When after you first arrived there and you got back to see your folks again, what was it that you just had to tell your mother about living where you were?
Well, when it was the first year, we lived in this big old house, and across the street, they said it was one house was a massage parlor, and another they said was a red light house, and we used to get the binoculars out and try to see what was going on. We never did really know for sure, but that's what we used to say, so that's what I'd tell my mother, and she wasn't too happy with the situation being there, you know. But we always went couples. We never went alone around there, you know, we always had. And we were really not afraid. We were sort of excited about what was going on, you know.
And being downtown, I would imagine there were more social things going on, more concerts, more plays, more dances, that sort of thing. Did you find that to be the case?
No, not too much. We were mainly, we would go over to the YMCA and we would play over, you know, basketball over there, or we put on a play over there, or do things like that. We never went downtown much. I didn't start, when we got married, we started going every weekend to Chippewa or someplace dancing, Columbia Ballroom dancing. And
we'll get into more of that. When you were in nursing school, you mentioned that you were challenged because you didn't take chemistry in high school. How did you get around that? Or was it just a matter of studying really hard?
It was studying. And at the end when I met Jerry, then he helped me get through chemistry, memorizing all the symbols and that.
And that was during the first year of nursing school? Second year?
First and, well, between the first and second, yeah.
When you started your second year, is that when you went to live, did they have a residence right there at the hospital?
Yeah, right at the hospital. And that was nice.
What was the most surprising thing about that?
Oh, we used to have a good time there. We used to, when we weren't studying or going to class, we had a long room, a day room, where we'd sit and talk, and that's when I started smoking. I never smoked until I went into nurses training, and drink coffee.
Yeah, but you know, you got to remember back then just about everybody smoked.
Yeah.
I think the smokers were in the majority.
Yeah. But then we worked up on the floor. In fact, we were in charge of sometimes on the floor, just being second-year students. They taught us good. And I mean, I can see the difference in a 3-year and my girls graduating from the 4-year program. I mean, we learned on the spot things, you know, where they came out of college not even doing some of the things.
You had some on-the-job training. Once you moved into the hospital, what was the most surprising thing to you about living there? What was the most surprising thing you experienced?
I don't think there really was much. I can't think of anything.
Was that when
We
you
just-
started working on the floor?
Yeah, we start working on the floor, and then on the third year of school, the hospital moved out of that area. They were building a new, beautiful building,
Mm-hmm.
new hospital, and we were the first class to graduate out of it. We went there the third year, and we used to go up on the roof, and the interns would come up, and we'd just sit and talk, and we'd have a good time up there on the roof. And,
What surprised you?
But I don't think anything really surprised me. I mean, I met a lot of like patients that I didn't know, you know, like one with a gunshot wound in the abdomen. Well, all that, I was really naive, very naive when I went into nurses training.
Well, you saw some big city
And
stuff.
so so that's when I learned a lot of what was going on. We were really sheltered, I found out.
Was there a particular incident that you witnessed that affected you the most?
Well, I think the gunshot one did.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a young guy, probably late teens or early 20s. And I had to give him a shot, my first shot. And he says, I'll do it. He knew it was my first shot. And he says, I'll say how good you were at giving it. So, but I always remember that.
As you were going through your training at the hospital, what direction were you thinking of going with your career in nursing?
I always wanted to work at the hospital. I never wanted to be a school nurse or a home care nurse. We had to go through all that for the 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
home care and so forth. Go into some of these homes that's what I mean. I was sheltered. I didn't realize
Yeah.
what other people were going through. But no, I always wanted to work in the hospitals. But after we got married, well, I worked at one nursing home up here in Michigan.
Which one?
Well, it was Avondale Nursing Home in Rochester. It's
Mhm.
now Metalodge.
Right.
But that's when we first moved up.
Okay.
And so
What was the first place you worked when you graduated, after you graduated from nursing
at the
school?
hospital where I graduated.
Ah, so you were both living down there at the time.
Yeah, we weren't married yet.
Okay.
I worked there, and then when we got married, I was working there, and then we moved to Berea, our first house, and I worked in labor delivery at Berea Hospital.
Okay, I'm going to pause you there for just a moment because we need to take a break,
Okay,
and then we'll pick it up when we come back.
some more.
Stay with us. Back with Jackie Bambousek, talking about getting out of nursing school, your first experience as a nurse. Now, when were you married during this?
We were married in '55, the year I graduated.
That was the year you graduated from nursing school.
Yeah.
Now,
And my father said, don't get married right away. Get a check, work and get your own paycheck, you know. But we were in a hurry. I don't know why. But I graduated in September and we got married in October.
Well, now, refresh my memory. Was Jerry working in Cleveland at that time?
Yeah, he was at school, but he was home. He came home on break from the college.
He was in Colorado, wasn't he?
Colorado,
So he was a
yeah.
ways away.
Yeah. So he came
I
home.
mean, you guys were writing letters back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
There wasn't FaceTime back then.
No. But I knew his family more than he knew his family.
Really?
You know.
You knew the secrets.
Yeah. And so when we got married, we moved down to Colorado University. And then I got pregnant. And my dad sent me money in September of that year to fly home. And we moved back then in September. I was about 7 months pregnant or so. And Jerry packed up all our stuff and he came with the U-Haul, drove home, and I flew home. And then I had my first child November.
Did you do any nursing during that? Or did you get back into the hospital?
Oh yeah,
You did?
I worked quite a bit. I worked at, when we moved into Bay Village, Ohio on Lake Erie, I worked at Bay Village, Bayview Hospital. I don't know if you remember Sam Shepard.
I do.
That was his hospital.
Oh.
And his brother Richard was a maternity OB man, doctor. And I worked there as a IV therapist and a respiratory therapist. And that was nice. I enjoyed that. And then we moved up to Michigan. And then I worked at the nursing home.
Now,
for a year.
you were pregnant, you mentioned,
Yes,
and did you have a little boy or a little girl?
little girl.
And did you have her in Cleveland?
No, yes. Yeah,
She was
they
born in
were-
Cleveland.
Yeah, she was born in Cleveland at the hospital where I graduated. And,
Did they take extra good care of you there?
oh yeah, that was nice. So I worked in between. I have two daughters. They're 2.5 years apart. And I'd be with them for a year, and then I would work nights.
I was going to
Well,
ask you how you pulled this
yeah,
off,
I
because
would work nights.
I've been through this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got the night shift.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
So Jerry had to fix a dinner or two, right?
Uh-huh.
Ah.
But
They have
worked
frozen
out-
dinners back then, Jerry. I remember that.
Yeah. It worked out good, though. My girls learned how to use the washer and dryer and everything. It really taught them, and so that's why they only know nursing, because I always worked at a hospital. Came up here. They wanted to go to Ohio State. They didn't want to move here. They were in junior high, and my oldest daughter was just going to start high school. And Jerry found us a house in Rochester. And
So did you have second thoughts about moving to Michigan? Or?
I hated to. My mother lived one side of me, not far, and my sister lived on the other. And but like he said, if we wanted to live the life that we were
Yeah.
used to, we had to move. So he started at the tech center.
Was your dad still alive when
No.
you went through this?
No, he died in '59. When he was 59. No. But he did see both the girls get born.
Great.
And that had some.
And if I had to guess, because it sounds like your father was quite an entrepreneur, he would have said, look, you've got to go where the light and the dollars are,
Yeah.
where the job is.
Yeah.
And that's really why you moved to Michigan, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So where did you end up working when you first moved to Michigan? Where did you go?
Well, that's when I went to Avondale nursing home because Crittenton, right across the street, wasn't hiring, which is unusual. But at that time, they weren't hiring. So I worked over a year at the nursing home, and then Crittenton called, and then I started at Crittenton, and I worked there until the girls graduated from Rochester High School.
What did you think about working in a nursing home?
I liked it.
Did you?
I was in charge of the hospital. I'd bring in my girls to help with the crafts, with the
They enjoyed
residents
that, I'll
there.
bet.
Yeah, or would have sing-alongs and they would come and help.
At what
with that.
point did the girls want to do what you did?
I don't think they even thought much about it until after they graduated, that's what they wanted to do. They were,
Did it take them very long to like living where they were?
No, it really didn't. For a while, when we first moved, it seemed like we were going back and forth to Ohio because my older daughter had a boyfriend.
How old were your daughters when
daughters.
you moved up here?
Well, the older one was just starting high school. So
Tough
she
time.
was, 15, 16, and the other one was 13, 14.
Yeah,
something
and it's
like
not
that.
as though Cleveland was the other side of the world, so...
Yeah,
You
but
could do
they adjusted well. They enjoyed it. And then they got their boyfriends right away, and that's who they ended up marrying.
How did-
Michigan people.
How long did you work in the nursing home?
It was just about a year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
And then a job opened up
Then
in the
the
hospital? Is that
hospital
it?
opened up, yeah. And then I worked there until they graduated from high school, which was 3 or 4 years at Crittenton.
What area did you get into at Crittenton?
Mainly med-surg,
Okay.
yeah. At
So
the
you
other
would help-
hospitals, I had maternity, labor and delivery, emergency room and all that. But once I got up to Crittenton, it was mainly med-surg floor. And
How'd you like that when you first got... Because you weren't in med-surg before, right?
no, I liked it. Of course, it's nursing, and I like the bedside nursing. I don't care for it now, how it's changed. But then we did bedside nursing, which I enjoyed.
Let's talk about that more in just a minute. We got to take a break, but we'll be back for our last segment with Jackie Bambousek. Back with Jackie Bambousek. We're just talking about your nursing experience at Crittenton Hospital, which is where you retired from.
Yeah, because that's the second time back. I moved to Algonac and quit Crittenton to move on to the water, St. Clair River.
So that's the reason you moved to Algonac? You wanted
The girls graduated from high school, and we said, now we want to go somewhere we want. We came to Rochester for the schools.
Right. Well, tell me about the place you found in Algonac.
Oh, it was nice. It was right on St. Clair River, on a canal on one side in the river, and you'd watch the freighters go by. And we thought we would end up, we were boaters. We were boaters from when we lived in Bay Village, Ohio. We started boating and joined a South Shore Cruising Club. and went on all the Great Lakes. We've been on all the Great Lakes.
Did you own a
And
boat
the
back when
girls-
you were in Ohio?
Yeah, that's when we started. Right before we moved up here, we started boating, and the girls came with us, and they would do the scuba diving off the boats, and we would go up to Canada, and we were, like I said, we were on the locks. We went all over. We trailed the boat until we moved to Algonac, and then we bought a cabin cruiser.
Ah,
And our house had a boathouse connected to it.
bet I know where all the family parties
Oh,
were.
yeah. Well, that's what we thought, that this is where we would retire and live. But it's very expensive to live on the river when the snow, the icebergs came and took all our seawall up the one year. We had to replace all the seawall, and we flooded 3 times. Something with about the dam, they up north they let the dam out or in or something. Anyway, we flooded. The St. Clair River went too high.
How many years did you live on the river there?
From 78 to 82,
Okay. 4 years?
yeah. And we flooded the 3 times, and we said it's just too much, you know.
So where did you
So,
start
and
looking?
I worked at River District Hospital in St. Clair.
So that was
And-
right close to you.
Yeah, not too far. So I've been at all different hospitals.
So where were you thinking about moving to? Getting away from that had to be a hard
Then we
choice.
moved back to Rochester.
Did you?
Up on high land. We said we could get up high. And we sold the boat, and we bought a motor home, and then we start motor homing.
So tell me about planning your motorhome adventures. Now, did you go all over the country in that, or back and forth to Florida? What did
We
you guys
were
do?
back and forth to Florida, but we went out west to Arizona and all Colorado and all around. We camped, and
Was that as nice as you thought it would be?
yes, it
Was it?
was nice. I really enjoyed it. And down in Florida, we stayed 6 months at they had small homes and motor homes and fifth wheels. And we ended up, when we were in Arizona, trading in our motor home for a fifth wheel and a truck, a dually truck.
Was that so you'd have
110
something you could
dually.
drive once you got to your destination?
Yeah.
Was that it?
So we started with our fifth wheel then, going down to Florida. And
Did you like that a lot?
yes. But it came to the point where, you know, we were getting older, and all our friends were leaving. They were all from different areas and would congregate from, say, November through April, and around there.
Whereabouts in Florida did you end up going to?
It was Umatilla. It was about 30 miles north of Orlando. So we were north.
You were kind of in
Not-
the Disney area. kind
Yeah,
of, Yeah.
not too far from the villages, if you
Mhm.
know the villages. But that's where all our friends, we really made our friends.
Did
down
you ever
there
think
for
about
18
buying a
years.
home down there?
Yeah, but Jerry never wanted to buy a home that he'd have to take care of. I wouldn't want to stay there full time. I don't think I could take the summer,
Yeah.
because come April when we packed things up, the humidity was so bad that I said no. And all my family was back here. I missed out on enough going 6 months, because my grandsons wrestled and played football for Rochester, you know, and some of it we missed.
Sure.
So we're making up for it now, though.
I'll bet you are.
Yeah.
When was the last year you went to Florida for 6 months?
It must have been, let's see, we moved here in 12. It must have been about 2010
Mhm.
we stopped.
Now, did you move here to Oxford right after Rochester?
Yes. Oh, no. We went to Ortonville then.
Oh, to Ortonville. What made you want to move to
Every
Ortonville?
7 years he said we moved, except when we were in Algonac, we stayed 1 year too long. To Ortonville is where he retired then.
Okay. What made you want to move to Ortonville? What was there about Ortonville that attracted you?
I don't know, it was country. He wanted a small small city or
Mm-hmm.
town. He always wanted to live in a small town because we were always in a big, bubbly town. So what we saw a home that we liked, was on 2.5 acres. But
What he really wanted to do was buy a riding mower, right?
yeah,
That was the reason.
he kept
for
making it
Ortonville.
more and more grass, yeah, until we got too old for that, you know.
Did you ever miss having a boat?
Yeah, we did, because we always enjoyed boating, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But we did all on the water, and that's why when we got the motorhome then, we got to see everything on land, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When we were on the water, we saw everything all on the edges of everything. Lake Michigan, we only saw, you know, going down Lake Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
That-
What made you choose to move to Oxford?
I don't know. Well, my daughter, for one, lives just down the street from here. She lived in Oxford, and my other daughter, my older daughter, lives in Lake Orion.
So they're both close.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'll bet you like that.
Oh, yeah. Because the younger daughter has a grandson with cerebral palsy,
Uh-huh.
and he works at the Goodwill now, volunteer work like. And a lot of times we'll have doings here that we'll ask Noda to drop him off here instead of taking him home.
Uh-huh.
He's confined to a wheelchair.
How old is he now?
He was just 29.
My goodness.
But the women here they just wait for him to come, because he'll sing with them, you know. We'll have something when the performer will be singing, and he knows all the songs, and he'll start singing it with them. And
If you had to redo anything, would you? If we're going to let that ring, that's okay. We'll edit it out.
see, so
Another sales call.
uh-huh.
Okay, here we go. If you had it all to do over again, would there be anything that you'd change, knowing what you know now?
Like what? I don't know. I think this is the best thing that happened to us, is to come here. When we lived in our other house in Oxford, we lived there, and then in 2000, we both have had open heart surgeries. In 2012 of January, I had a stroke, and we thought, no, we better start looking for some independent place where we could
Yeah.
be together, and then if anything happens to either one of us, we've made friends all here,
You'll have
and
the
we
support. Yeah.
can, yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you agreeing to be on our program. It's
Oh,
really been
yeah.
a delight.
I
Have
didn't
you and
think I
Jerry
could
on.
talk that much, but
Hey, we appreciate it. Thanks for being
Yeah.
on the program, and thank you for joining us.